evening, everybody, and for a unscheduled episode of WrestleZone Unfiltered. We a little late from Thursday, but I am here as always, along with sickly Paul this week.
I'm
but he's
trying my best.
He's toughing it out so we can get this out to you and not skip a week. So, other than your congestion and everything else, how is she doing, man?
It's freezing up here. The last couple of days have honestly been like negative 35. And to give you perspective, negative 40 is where both Fahrenheit and Celsius meet. So it has been the worst temperature.
I'm not sick, but I can't relate to that temperature. But I've been walking around here for the past few days just because I haven't seen my yard in a week and a half. And I let the dog out to she doesn't even crunch. She goes across the ice, and then I go out. Then I go down there, and I'm a little bit bigger than the dog, and I didn't go through the ice either. So we're out there ice skating because nothing's melted and getting more snow today. And I think they said our wind chill, it might get down to like right at zero, maybe not -1 or 2. But dude, I hate cold. I could not live in Canada. Bless you, my child. I couldn't do it. It has nothing to do with the people or the land. I just don't like cold weather.
This is like out of the normal cold. Like a couple weeks ago, it was like -10, which is kind of nice. The sun's out, okay. But oh my gosh, this is really hurting me physically. Oh my goodness.
I understand. I do. But anyway, we were gonna do a cover a couple of things that happened on AEW Dynamite and do a Royal Rumble preview, but the Royal Rumble just ended. So let's get right into it, man. What did you think?
Oh, why you gotta give me such a open-ended question like that? I'll start with saying this. I kind of felt like the women were taking the piss a little in their match. Like, it didn't really feel like all the bolts were tightened up and these are the 30 best women in the company. It kind of felt like a little bit of screw these people. Because it kind of looked like no one was in the seats. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that you could tell that place was. I mean, they said there was 25,000 people there. I need to look that stadium up because they threw it together. I mean, you saw the pictures they showed at the beginning what it looked like January 15th, and that's where all the speculation came from on whether it was actually going to be able to be held there. But they said if there was 25,000 people, there's like how many people does this thing hold? Is that something they need to look at? Because you have a half full stadium for WrestleMania. I don't know, but did you have the volume up when you were watching it?
Yeah, but I didn't hear everything as they were going.
Well, the only reason I asked was it just me, or did Brie Bella get the biggest pop of the night for the women?
Oh, yes. And the one thing I did notice is there was no chants. There was no unified chants until the end when they started doing the yes chants and stuff like that. But they went that whole show without doing Hey Bailey chant, like one of those sing-songy interaction bits. They went the whole show without it.
And I don't remember what he said, but yeah, Michael Cole actually, I'm sure it came from somebody in the back, but he made some kind of smart ass comment about, yeah, okay, it's the it kicks. We get it. We know. And I'm like, oh, somebody a little salty.
Yeah, because that's the other company and they can't acknowledge it, but the culture acknowledges it, and they hate that. I think WWE hates when their fans acknowledge that something else exists.
Well, yes and no, because when they brought Brian Pillman Jr. into NXT, they let him explain the name change. And then when, watching it tonight, I mean, it wasn't a great first showing, but I mean, they really put over Powerhouse Hobbs, talking about
correction. What's his name?
Well, that's what I was getting to before
they
started calling him Royce Keys. They put up the big thing with his music that said Powerhouse Hobbs. And then it went into the next, the Royce Keys thing. And then, the announcers actually, formerly known as Powerhouse Hobbs, they acknowledge that him and Cody had battles in another company. And I mean, so that's a lot more than we ever got from Vince McMahon. So I'll take what I can get.
That's true. And it's funny because they will acknowledge New Japan in a heartbeat. They brought it up with AJ. They brought it up with Bullet Club. Brock Lesnar gets like here and there. I know JBL has mentioned a couple things. It's like, oh, that's funny that they'll go to New Japan, but as soon as it's AEW, they're like, look over here.
Yeah, so I mean, I like Liv Morgan winning the Royal Rumble, the women's. I do. I think a lot of Liv Morgan. She's worked hard. I like the story they told with her eliminating Raquel. That's going to create the friction, even more friction in the Judgment Day storyline. I don't know how Stephanie Vaquer's ankle is, but with Raquel being the number one contender, depending on how they want to do it, I can completely see Raquel winning that title and Liv choosing her to face at WrestleMania for the story behind it. They might screw that up and go a different way, but I liked Liv winning the Women's Royal Rumble. I didn't really think anybody else in there needed that. Her finishing second, but
do I agree with it? No. Am I going to argue it away from her? No. Fine. Okay.
Well, I mean, I sat there and went through the list. It's like, because Liv's been world champion already, and so I'm going to probably contradict myself when we get to the men's. But I was sitting there looking at it, going, who else should that have been? They're not going to do somebody from NXT, even though Sol Ruka looked like $1 million in that match. I think she's got a bright future, but I like I said, I like the way they did it. They let Rhea do the power and eliminate Lash Legend. Lash Legend looked like a beast for most of the match, and then Raquel being able to eliminate Rhea, and then the talking up, the trash talking of "ha, I got you," and then Liv flipping her out while she's standing on the bottom rope. I like the way that sequence was done. But like I said, I tried to just go through the women that was in there. The Bellas, they got their pop. They're not going to win. They're not sending one of the
Bellas. That's a nostalgia entry. I'm not a big fan of them, but sure, why not? 2 minutes.
Nikki's been talking about wanting to be world champion since she came back, being bored and whatever the case may be. But anyway, Liv Morgan is your 2026 Women's Royal Rumble winner, and we'll go to the next match, which was by far.
Like they took the piss. That's all it was.
To me, I mean, we knew this was coming. I forgot where I saw the comment, but it was about 2 weeks ago that somebody had posted somewhere that we'd been watching AJ Styles' retirement tour all along. We just didn't realize it. And then I'm like, holy shit, they're right. Because of, the matches we got, that classic with Cena that, like I talked to you about, it wasn't the catch as catch can in the match. It was the emotion that it in the throwbacks they did. And, then they let him wrestle Finn. And then, him and Shinsuke had one hell of a match on Saturday night's main event, going back to their New Japan days.
Which is like 8 years ago,
it's been longer than that, because AJ, I was talking about it earlier. I can't believe AJ Styles, when I think of AJ Styles, I still think of the Air Styles from the late WCW before they closed down. And then of course the TNA days, and then the Bullet Club in New Japan. But he's been in WWE 10 years. It was 10 years ago, Royal Rumble, he debuted, and I'm like, so I mean, but they did a lot more with AJ than I ever thought they would. I mean, he was champion under Vince McMahon when Vince was still there.
Let's be real. Him keeping AJ, not going to NXT, like they fumbled his remember when he debuted and they screwed up the camera angle and it was just Roman being confused for a bit. But it's amazing that he got that. Balor had to go to NXT. Kenta had to go to NXT. Nakamura had to go to NXT. Like, these are legends. AJ, but there you go. Right this way.
I will tell you now, get your opinion.
I'm not saying it's undeserved. I'm just saying it's very special. Like, that
I go back to, once I got to thinking about everything, then I remember the interview he did last year where he said 2026 was going to be it, and that he wanted to be done at the Royal Rumble. Because it was right after the Rumble or right before where he said that was going to be his last Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
And but then the way the match ended, after the match, I should say, was him going to take his gloves off, but then refusing to and putting his gloves back on. So my question is, I think he's done. I think he's done in WWE. But does that mean that he's going to go, one last TNA run, or maybe a couple of matches in Japan, or not like a full-time schedule per se, but because they kept making it a point to say he had to retire from WWE. They didn't say wrestling. They kept making that a point.
To kind of lead in on that, if he wanted to go to Japan, they do tours. So in theory, he would only have to do like 2 months, and that's if he wants to do every show. If he just wants to do big shows, that's like 2 or 3 shows over 2 or 3 months. That's easy. He could do that no problem. Knowing him, he'd work every single show in that entire tournament and like, let's do it. Who cares?
Yeah, but and I will say this. To me, it was the best match on the card. Even being in Saudi Arabia, it still invoked emotion from the crowd.
Yeah.
And if you're a wrestling fan, you don't have to like Gunther, but you got to respect the guy. What a great heel he is. I mean, let's just
need to like Gunther.
Let's just put him over for a minute. I mean, he's a great heel. Turning him babyface is just, to me right now, not an option. I mean, you never know what the future will hold, but I mean, the guy's worked his ass off, from what he started at, a little pudgy and kind of like, Damian Priest, the shape they got themselves in to come to WWE. But, Gunther, he is so good in the ring. Everything he does is so crisp. And, I can't think in the last, to me, 20 years of a heel that every wrestling fan despised.
Okay. Sorry to cut you off, but I had a curious thought. I thought with Gunther, I wonder who trained him. Like, I wonder if I look it on Wikipedia, which I have, and it says trained by, there's 2 very interesting names on this list. Would you like to hear these names?
Absolutely.
One of them is Riki Choshu, and one of them is Tomohiro Ishii.
Well, I mean, the way he hits, that makes sense.
And Big Tom loves that storytelling. He doesn't do moves, he hits people and he tells a story. So if that's true, if Riki Choshu, one of the old school like New Japan wrestlers, and Big Tom to Tomohiro, that's a good base to have. It would explain a lot in his like less is more physical style.
Yeah, and I'll be interested. I really, I'm sure AJ is going to be on somebody's podcast here shortly. I would venture to say probably Cody Rhodes, like John Cena did, because he is still under contract to sometime in February. Not really sure what.
I like Cody's podcast. It's very like loose.
Yeah, and I thought Cena's was very informative. To be honest with you, I enjoyed his podcast with Cena, but I'll be interested to see what he had to say, because Cena had nothing but great things to say about Gunther and the person he actually is off camera, and just what an amazing talent he was. And people poo-pooed all over it, but I'll be honest with you, it was Cena. I don't know how I would have done it. I'm not going to sit here and say I know the best way to put Cena out his last match, but I also can tell you that if Cena didn't want to do Gunther for his last match, it wouldn't have been Gunther. And so I kind of, not that AJ had the bit, as much pull as Cena in the back, but I say the same for AJ Styles. If he wanted to do his last match with somebody else, I don't think they would have pushed Gunther on it and said, no, you're going to do this. I mean, now Vince McMahon, yeah, I could see him doing that, but not what they have now.
I think realistically, Gunther might be ultimately the best choice, because with his style, he's got a lot of tenure left.
Well, and the fact, I mean, it's this, I don't blame them for doing it with Gunther, especially as long as AJ was okay with it, which I can't see why he wouldn't be with everything I've heard about Gunther. But with Goldberg, who I'm probably in the majority for once on this, nobody gave 2 shits about Goldberg retiring. I mean, nobody cared. But between
too late,
between Gunther being his last match and then Cena's last match, and then I mean, it just makes sense to keep that aura, building that aura further.
Yeah, and if Walter's going to be the Brock Lesnar of 6 years from now, like who, you know what I mean? Like, is he's going to be the S-class guy that now? Who is one of the young NXT guys that came out? Because I don't know a lot of the NXT guys. So I think it was Javon
Evans.
give 6 years from now, is Javon Evans going to be taking the title off of Gunther? People are going to be going, "Oh my God, they let Javon beat this guy. The streak's over." Like if that's where
Well,
they're going with it,
it's funny
that's
you brought up
wrestling.
Brock Lesnar because I don't, you never know how true things are, but rumor has it that this is going to be Brock's last year of doing anything in ring, and that Gunther is going to be the one to send Brock off to
Oh my
greater
God,
pasture. So, I mean, again, that's just how rumors are. I mean, but
yeah.
that's the speculation right now. If Brock is really going to be done, with his 3 to 4 matches this year, I guess. But
You guys got to start spreading them out. You can't just have retirement, 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 your retirement. You got to stagger them a bit.
and and they did well by Obafemi. I mean, there was no reason for him to win it. I would have liked to see him won it.
Why not? Let him win it. Go big. Like I think that's we could talk about it at the end, but it's yeah, I felt like why not? Like a guy like that, you let him come in first, all of a sudden he's in the final four. What the hell?
Oh no, that'd been great. I mean, it would have been a great surprise. But if like I said, I was not overwhelmed with this. Royal Rumble used to be my favorite event. Because when you had WCW and Ring of Honor and all those people, and they'd bring back a legend or two, and they'd make a surprise. And don't get me wrong, I understand why you can't do it. There's not many legends out there like that. JBL could still go. You could probably get Ron Simmons to be able to do a few bumps or whatever to go over the top rope, but it's not like it used to be to bring a Mr. Perfect back or something like that. And you have you have such a huge talent roster, then I completely understand why you don't do that anymore. But the surprise element of it, the nostalgia of it, and bringing some of those guys back is what made it my favorite. And
there was always one wild card person where you'd go, what? The gobbledygookers in the but everybody's into it. The fans would pop for the gobbledygooker because they just go, why not? Why not? It's a Royal Rumble. All bets are off. Who knows who could be next?
And not that it would have sold tickets for WrestleMania, but if you're gonna let Gunther retire AJ Styles and then come out at number 30, it would have been a popcorn fart pop because of people just not on his bandwagon yet. But you really want to make him look strong. I mean, let him finish it. There was not one reason in the world for Roman Reigns to win that Royal Rumble. He shouldn't even been in it.
Who cares?
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of, and I was not a Roman Reigns fan with the whole big dog thing. Like I told you before, the bloodline, it got a little stale toward the end, but I was really a big fan of the stuff he was doing when he came back and started the whole tribal chief thing with Paul Heyman. But again, I mean, there's no denying what star Roman Reigns turned into and how he carried the company. But to me, I mean, why even put him in there? He doesn't need to go to the Royal Rumble to get a title shot. He held the damn title for 4 years.
And there's a bit of like, okay, so I quit watching WWE so many years ago, but when I look back and see what their product is, it's like, yeah, when I watched, this was the same. You know what I mean? Like a lot of these guys are still there. Roman's still like, it's been 11 years and your roster hasn't changed at all. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I was kind of disappointed with the ending of it, because it's like you didn't give the final. Did they give the final 4 member like to an NXT person, or was it only?
It was Orton. It was Orton, Gunther, Reigns, and Logan Paul.
You couldn't have given that to Obafemi. You couldn't have given that to Javon Evans. You could have given that to I don't know the names of all the NXT people, so I'm sure you could throw a couple in, but it's like give it to one of them, just so you now have this one NXT person that could go, hey, I have this one thing on my resume now that I can.
You know who out of those 4, you know who I would have given it to?
Let's hear it.
Logan Paul.
I don't know if I can hang out with you anymore. This is
let me explain why.
Fine.
He gets such a reaction. People boo him to.
Yeah, no, I have to agree with that.
Now, Roman Reigns is Roman Reigns. We know what he's done. Gunther's been a 2-time world champion. Randy Orton is a 14-time world champion. Now, and the Vision's plan was for those three to go in and help Braun Breaker win the Royal Rumble. Well, Braun Breaker, we saw what happened at the beginning. We'll cover that in a second. But Breaker was eliminated. Then, Bronson Reed and Austin Theory were eliminated. So with Logan Paul winning, he gets his shot and creates all this turmoil inside the Vision. It gives you.
Oh, yes. I remember somebody saying something like this.
It gives you the story moving forward instead of just, oh, they all got eliminated.
I got a better idea. Hear me out. We give it to Chelsea Green.
Oh,
okay.
She is so good, man. She really is.
While I'm being very sarcastic, like, don't actually give it to Chelsea Green, but I think there's a point where WWE has to, like, okay, remember back in the day, I don't know if they still do it, but they say anybody could win the Royal Rumble.
Yep.
You could have anyone in the main event of WrestleMania. It could be you. But it's never been Luke the Bushwhacker who's won. It's never been, the weirdo. Oh, the head thrasher, headbanger Mosh. He won. I think one year WWE just needs to commit to the bit and have, like, Santino. You could have had Santino with the Rumble. Like, give it to the person that drives home the point. Anyone could win.
Well, before it became the winner gets a title shot, I know Duggan won the first one. I think he might have won the second one back to back, but I'm not sure.
Duggan was a solid mid-carder at that point. Yeah. So it's like, that makes sense why he would win a battle royal. So, but yeah, it's like, give it to a weirdo and have this story. Remember when James Ellsworth got a job and the whole story of him was just, he's happy to be here?
Yep.
Do that. Just pick one. That's our story.
I met him. It was after he left, but I met him probably 4 or 5 years ago. Nice guy. I mean, laid back, doesn't take himself too seriously. I mean, he's just nice as he could be. So, yeah, but I mean, and then you got, it wouldn't make sense to be anybody else, but the way they do shit, I don't know. But Braun Breaker getting attacked, that whether it was Seth or not, they did the kick like Seth did, and then the stomp, and then throwing Braun Breaker in the ring.
They're doing it again. The like, what is Black Scorpion gimmick, dude?
Well, Austin, it was Austin Theory the first time coming out and helping, and I had to do a double take because they had talked about possibly Montez Ford being added to the Vision or getting a singles push, so I had to do a double take and look at his hands, but it was a white guy, so it wasn't Montez, but it wouldn't make any sense to me for it to be anybody else other than Seth because of the way things did. And they had to, that storyline from what I've read was supposed to play out at WrestleMania with them turning on Seth Mania, but he got hurt. So they had to, they had to throw the fire in it and go with it there. But, CM Punk's getting his main event at WrestleMania. It'll be against Roman Reigns. It doesn't make sense for him to do Drew McIntyre. But speaking of Drew, he comes out and, he beats Cody for the title. And I know he kept saying that Cody doesn't get a rematch, blah, 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 whatever. But he comes out during the Rumble and is the reason Cody gets eliminated. And it's like, how much longer are we going to keep revisiting this? Does that put Cody in line to, now that it's definitely not going to be Cody and Roman, does that put Cody in line to go win the Elimination Chamber so he can face Drew again at WrestleMania? I don't know.
And are they turning Cody heel? Because apparently the Codyverse is now coming to WWE, which I think is hilarious because it's the total repeat of what was happening in AEW a couple years ago. Good guy Cody, everybody gets sick of him. They want him to turn heel.
From what I've read, they're not going to do the full-fledged heel turn. It's just going to be Cody out there being very condescending and, kind of just. I guess Roman's character is the best way I know how to put it. You're still going to have people cheering, but he's not going to be whatever. It's like a
tweeter character because you can't commit. Because, hey, Cody sells product. So we can't make our top merch selling babyface a heel because then we're going to lose out on that merch. That stuff makes sense. But at the same time, creatively, try it. Because if he turns heel and now you have a okay, here's the best example. I hate to use this example, but hey, is turning Hulk Hogan heel a good idea in the 90s? I don't know, man. We might lose a lot of opportunity. Hey, this Hollywood Hogan character is sure is something, eh? This shirt seems to be selling like hotcakes.
Yeah, that NWO shirt is still the best selling in wrestling shirt of all time,
So
and it
maybe
still sells to this day.
maybe you take the chance. And if it doesn't work, you could go back on it. But hey, Cody comes out as a heel. Maybe the kids like now they'll latch on to a different baby face and all the sales will now go to this person.
And the company still makes money. So.
And the cosmic ballet goes on.
And as bad as I hate to say this, I know we're I'm jumping around, but like I said, I was just disappointed because how much I used to look forward to the Royal Rumble. But I mean, it wasn't a bad wrestling match per se, but just the Sammy Drew thing. It's just like it was so, you build up the whole fact that Sammy's never been champion, and then you throw on top of it that he was 0-11 against Drew, and then but he's got momentum and he's never been defeated in Saudi Arabia. They give you, and then he gets basically, in my opinion, squashed.
Like, okay, so here's the sort of contradiction I have with Sami Zayn. He's from the bottom fighting babyface, right? But he's also like a tenured veteran. So which one are we doing? Are we doing, hey, Sami Zayn's a respected veteran that has fought wars and you should respect? Or is he, oh, this silly kid, ha ha ha? Because I feel like sometimes they try to present both, and it's like you gotta pick one, like
Yeah, he did the comedy stuff leading up, with of course the stuff with Johnny Knoxville, and then the stuff with the bloodline was only supposed to be a couple of weeks. I mean, I've heard him talk about it. It was only supposed to be like a couple of backstage segments, but then they saw the chemistry that was between the four of them, and they kept going week to week to week, and turned him into a serious character. Do I think they should give the title to Sammy at some point? Yeah, I think he's worked hard enough and he's been enough to the company, especially being as they seem like they're going to be doing Saudi Arabia 2 to 3 times a year, and let it either be there or be Canada, but you can't do it at WrestleMania season.
I get to sound like the bad guy here, but I don't think Sami Zayn should ever get like a world title. I don't know. Like, I get that there's this sort of like they've earned it now, but I don't know. Sami Zayn's a solid mid-carder. He's a great opening match. He's a fantastic wrestler, but it's like I don't like this idea of like you've earned it.
Well,
Has
I'm
Horace
sure
Hogan
you remember.
earned it? Should he have a title? He's been wrestling forever.
Who's that?
Horace Hogan?
Oh, is he still
I'm just taking the piss, but you know what I mean, right? Like,
but well, I mean, a
wrestling.
lot of the things you just said were also said about Bryan Danielson in the WWE. Now we know how good Bryan Danielson is.
Yeah.
And once he got the title, he got it over. But there was a lot, there was a lot of naysayers. There was a lot of naysayers when they put the title on him.
That's very true. Yeah, you got me there. Like, if Sami Zayn could, like, does he have the potential to do it? Maybe. I don't know. I just don't look at him and go, wow.
No,
I don't do that mid-swell when I see
he's
Sami Zayn, but
I mean, he's the epitome of dad bod in wrestling.
I will say this: he'll have a job for life, because if he's not wrestling, they're going to turn him into a trainer. They'll turn him into a coach. He'll be like alongside Regal, like job for life.
Speaking of Regal, Ava's last, she has left WWE. Her last NXT was this past Tuesday.
So ready for this? Who?
Yeah. Well,
I'm sorry. I feel like I'm being mean this episode, but I honestly had no idea who this person was.
You talk about, Nepo hires. I mean, they gave her a shot with Joe Gacy's group before he was called up. And, then she quietly retired from the ring because she said she just wasn't cut out for it. And they gave her the GM spot because of who she is. And, I don't know. I'm pretty sure it was on her, whatever she posted about thanking them for her time there. But, good for her. I mean, if she don't want to be, if it's not a passion for hers. I mean, I always liked Regal as the GM of NXT. I thought he did a great job, but so it's like, will it be Regal or are they going to put somebody else in that role?
Yeah, who knows? I do. Yeah, I could totally respect people because wrestling's one of those things where you like you're either built for it or not. And I don't want to be mean because wrestling's for everybody, but taking bumps, hitting the ropes, being choke slammed, not for everybody physically. So if she had a moment where she went, nah, I don't want to do this.
I don't know if it was that. Now, if you go back and through the social media stuff when she was actually wrestling, I mean, man, people just shit all over her because she was not good. It was very obvious that she was on TV because of who she was, and I mean, she was not that great. If so, I mean, I hope it was her going. I just don't like this, opposed to her getting ran off and not working. Not continuing to work at it because she didn't want to take the online backlash. Because I can't stand it. People just want to go on and shit all over everybody, and because they're behind a keyboard and whatever. You know what I'm trying to say.
I know exactly what you're trying to say. And have you ever seen the show Ted Lasso?
No, but I've heard of it.
There's a great speech. I'll send it to you. But basically, the guy does this whole speech about how, like, you buy a ticket to a show, you can say whatever you want to the footballers, but these are people. Like, these are real people. These are not. I'm actually kind of referencing a moment that I saw on Reddit where somebody said, "You people." I don't know if it was jokingly in front of Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston. You could see them both like, I'm sorry, what did you just say? Like, I think they played it off comedically, but it's like, if that wasn't said jokingly, that's not acceptable. I know that's a line from a movie, that's from Tropic Thunder, but it is also a touchy comment. So it's like,
well, it's like with I guess it's been a month ago now because we're headed to the Super Bowl next week, but a month or so ago, DK Metcalf for the Steelers went after a fan, and the fan version of it was all he did was call him by his government name, whatever DK stands for. I couldn't tell you, but it was also kind of alluded to that the fan made a racial slur, and the fans like, the hell I did. All I did was call him whatever DK stands for. And one of the things about the NFL is with all those videos they do and all the tapes they put together to sell and all that stuff, they've got microphones everywhere.
Oh, everywhere. I've seen some of those videos where just the players are mic'd up. Those are fun.
Yeah. But they went through, and I mean, because that's a serious allegation. And they were going to ban the dude for life if they found that that's what he had said. But every angle, everything they got from fan videos of the, because people like, with their hip, like everybody does nowadays. And between everything that they got from evidence wise, from fan cams, from their cams, from all the mics that are planted around there, all they heard the guy say was his name, and it just set him off. And he got suspended for the last 2 games, and it cost him whatever guaranteed money, like the way they do NFL contracts. You'll get a guarantee there, but he'll still make the money if he stays there for the next 2 years. But if they cut him, now they don't have to pay him anything.
To bring it back to wrestling, I think there was a video recently. I saw it on the Reddit, the squared circle there. But one of the lady wrestlers, I can't believe I just said that. My brain is not working. Roxanne Perez, someone like that. One of those girls on the WWE.
Oh yeah, it was Roxanne. Yeah, I didn't see what the people said, but she.
I just sort of saw like her like that anger, and it's like whoa. Like, okay, no matter what was said or staying off of that topic, what we're trying to talk about here, Jason and I, is like, maybe don't yell this kind of stuff to people who could knock your head off. Like whether they said it or not said it, like these are things that should be said or done, to these performers. So like it's pretty ridiculous how far some of these people are taking it,
Well, I mean, Mike Tyson said it best. People have gotten way too comfortable saying whatever they want to on social media and not getting punched in the quote fucking mouth.
I think on social media it's one thing, but when you're saying it in person, like,
well, that's it's gotten worse where people have been on social media for so long.
They're so used to it, but it's like
it's starting to carry over, into into going to the stadiums. I mean, yeah, I mean, you pay your money, you can cheer, you can boo who you want to,
Like, hey, I know.
Call them what you want to, make your signs, but man, there's a line that you know what that line is. Don't cross it.
Hey, there was a show in the 90s, early 90s, WWE. They had like a show in the Bronx, and even the Bronx, when a feminine character came out, just said sissy, sissy. Because I think even they were like, we're not chanting that. We're not, nope, we're good. We're staying out of it. Because even with Gold Dust, a couple people said a slur, but you could see most of the crowd were like, nah, we're not gonna do this. We're gonna back away from this
Well, a
stuff.
couple of people, hell, Jerry Lawler called him that slur, on
Yeah, I know,
commentary.
but it seems like they were trying to do that, but a lot of fans were like, we can keep this light. We can keep this fun. We don't have to.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. Yeah, like I said, back around to it for me, and like I said, AJ and Gunther was by far to me the match of the night. The rest of it to me was very, very underwhelming. Like I said, for all the stuff they pumped up with the Drew Sammy match, it was pretty much a squash, in my opinion. The Women's Royal Rumble, it wasn't great, but it told a story as far as the ending. And the Men's Royal Rumble just didn't make sense to me. I thought, like I said, I thought Logan Paul, out of the 4 they brought it down to, Logan Paul gave you a story moving forward. And if you can't figure out how to get Roman Reigns in a main event picture in WrestleMania without him winning the Royal Rumble, then we need somebody else writing that show.
And like, you didn't have one like nostalgia. Where's Tatanka? Like, you didn't have one weirdo. Come on, guys.
I mean, like every time Carlito, until they brought him back full time, every time he would make a surprise appearance, he'd get a huge pop. I mean, he's still in great shape. It looks like he gets better with age. I mean, he just
okay. So I don't know the legalities on this, but like, get DDP, hit two.
Yeah, he's under a legend contract.
Get out, bud. You're good.
Yeah, he was.
Now, I know he's almost 70, so okay, but
yeah, but if anybody at 70 can go out there and take at least one bump and go over the top rope, it's DDP.
That's all he has to do is just hit the move once. God, but like, grab someone like that. Like, I know we're worried about the gentleness, but I'm sure the Brooklyn Brawler could take a bump. Like, there's a lot of these guys.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen him talk, and I mean, he looks damn near the same as he did when he was on TV.
They don't age.
No, he doesn't. I mean, hell, Terry Taylor, well, I don't know if Terry Taylor's still there or if he's working for AEW. Hell, I don't even know. But I mean, Terry Taylor hasn't aged. I mean, can you imagine the pop that, if they ever wanted to get the Red Rooster a pop to bring him out for the Royal Rumble? I mean, because everybody hated that character back in the day, but you hear that, that rooster crowing and bring him out with that damn red spiked haircut and,
okay, so here's a silly question, but I think you'll know what I mean. Has the prestige of the Royal Rumble, especially what you earned by winning it, ironically ruined the fun that was the Royal Rumble, because we have to take it serious now because it has so much prestige? Like, if you look back in the day, there was more silliness. There's more, who's it gonna be now? Like, goofing, we're having fun. It's low stakes. We're having a blast. Oh my God, it's like some random Mexicans we found in 97 or whatever it was. But now it's like
the order of the stuff. And I'm trying to go back and, whenever they brought Rey Mysterio out, wherever spot they put him in, it was crickets. When they brought Rey Fenix out, because it was like right after Brock Lesnar, or two people after Brock Lesnar, crickets. Why put like the Miz? The Miz didn't need to be in it. I mean, you could go through and find 3, 4, 5 people that was in it that you could have replaced with a feel good moment or whatever. Come down. I mean, like Santino with the TNA agreement. I mean, hell, you know who wasn't in it that's over than more than 3/4 of the people in the company?
Let's hear it.
Fucking Joe Hendry.
Where was he? Where was Evil that we're supposed to be? Like, where were any of these like fun, goofy, weirdo. Like, come on, guys. Like, it's not too hard. I was just a small observation that I was thinking is they did, in theory, at the beginning of the match, have a Haas block where it was Oba, Damian Priest, Rusev. I think there was a couple more after that were like, all right, here come the big lads. But they didn't really do like big lads stuff. They should have did more meaty men like stuff, because then later in the match, all the luchas were out. Like Ray showed up early, but Dragon Lee, Phoenix, like you couldn't go. Okay, the first 5-8 are going to be the Hosses, the big men, and then later we're going to bring out all the like high flyers, luchas, so they could do all the flippy doos, and then we're going to have the main eventers come out, and then we'll have the final sequence and stuff. But this one just sort of felt like a little like, I don't know. It didn't have that same classic Rumble charm.
Yeah, I think the only comedy spot that I really recall seeing, you might remember another one, I don't know, what was, El Grande Americano coming out, and then right behind him was Chad Gable as the original El Grande Americano. That was really the only comedy spot they put in.
Like, I guess it's funny if you're, I guess, like I get it. I watch it, I go, oh, I get it. But then they just came out and pointed at each other, and it was like,
they did. So
you could have done more. So, like, okay, hear me out. Grande Americano goes to the other Grande Americano and goes to unmask him. And when he does, there's another mask under the mask. Play it up.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Like, of it all.
Give me a little bit more of that as like funner. I felt like it was too quick. It was like they pointed at each other and everyone went, "Huh, it's Spider-Man," and then that was it. That's all they had.
It's like like let's just say with the TNA agreement, they brought Santino out. You can let Santino
love it already.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You can let Santino, a Brooklyn Brawler, a Red Rooster. I mean, hell, pick one. I don't care.
Jody Threat. And everyone's gonna go who, and you can put it over.
Exactly. And
the Rumble, anyone could join. Okay, I know that's a woman, but it's like same principle. Anyone could join the Rumble. She could be WrestleMania. You never know the chances.
Absolutely. But the thing is, you can have those couple of spots and not make them last very long, and still have and still have the seriousness of going to WrestleMania when if you win.
And all we're doing is we're putting over TNA, because you can go, wow, wasn't she amazing? And she was cheated out of her spot by a heel. Oh, I should watch what's going to happen on TNA with Jody Threat next week. It's simple. You know what I mean? Like, if you guys are working together, it would have been, you could have taken any of the women. I just know Jody, so it's, my brain goes there. But like, why not? I know they did the Chelsea Green thing where she was on her feet. Oh, she was on her hands and knees, but they did it like 2 feet. So it's not like Kofi jumping across stuff and doing parkour like Johnny TV. It was just sort of like, yeah, we're done. That's it.
I was hoping to see a Kofi spot from Javon Evans, but we didn't get that either. So
we didn't get any of those. Did we get a split second elimination? I can't remember the top of my head. Like the Luke, the Santino, the you're in, you're out.
Not that I recall. I mean, Miro didn't last very long, but
no, but I mean that specific spot of like, I get in, I get knocked out.
Well, yeah, it's like the Warlord all those years ago. He gets in the ring, his big ass, he was like 330 pounds, and he gets in and gets, I don't remember who the hell knocked him over the top rope, but I mean, he was like 5 seconds.
I think Luke, they did it with Luke the Bushwhacker. They did it with Santino. They did it a few times, that like big boom.
Now, I don't know, you tell me if you agree or not. I think the one match they probably set up for WrestleMania is Brock Lesnar and Obafemi, because people were eating that up when those two were going at each other.
Big meaty men. Let's go.
And yeah, I mean, and in Brock's defense, I mean, how many WrestleMania matches has he actually won? I mean,
think of this. Imagine Brock Lesnar retires The Undertaker. Like, he's one of the biggest legends. He's Olympic, like, isn't he Olympic level wrestler? Like
Brock, no, he was an All American at Minnesota. He didn't go to the
collegiate, right?
Yeah, collegiate.
But it's like he's got all this resume, and he's the beast incarnate, and he's the 1 in 21. Imagine Obafemi just shows up and slaughters this guy. For some reason, it's not Brock's day. And this guy just picks him up and starts treating Brock Lesnar like his bitch. Everyone would go, sorry, what's happening with this? What? Excuse me? You'd have all eyes on you. Just commit to it. It wasn't Brock's day. This guy got the best of him and just planted him on his head.
Yeah, I mean, that's like I said, you go back and it's like, and I'll give you some examples of stuff I don't like, because you can get a win. It depends on what the company does with it afterwards. And I have no issue with John Cena coming in here and there like he did. I have no issue with them letting Austin Theory retain the U.S. title at Mania that year. I had no issue with Solo beating whatever pay-per-view that was. But then they fucked it up. They did nothing with either one of them after beating what they all call the greatest of all time. Yeah. It's like it God rest his soul, but Hulk Hogan. Everybody, you hear certain people like Hogan refused to lose, and the people that knew him well said no. Hogan would put anybody over in the world if you could answer his question. Then what? And he said, if you couldn't answer and tell him what came next, then that's when you got that doesn't work for me, brother. And like Bischoff said it several times. Like Hogan would lose if, and he said a couple of times that he said it was Hogan's idea to lose to Goldberg on Monday night and put the title on him. He said Hogan didn't mind losing. He goes, but you had to have that follow-up ready to go. It wasn't something like, yeah, we're gonna beat you and then we'll figure it out. And Hogan was like, no, you're not.
There was something I heard from Kevin Sullivan. I forget if this was a book or something, but remember him saying there's 3-point process to booking. So let's say you and me, Jason, we're gonna have a feud, a good old-fashioned wrestling feud. For some reason, we don't like each other. I've said something to you and your mother, and now we're fighting. He goes, that isn't one story. People think it's one story. It's one feud. It's one program. It's one story. He goes, no. That's part one. He goes, after this feud, what comes? Okay, so you've beaten me. You put me in the casket match, and the Druids have walked me up the ramp. Now what? Now what do we do when I come back? Because if I just come back and I wrestle Connor for no reason on Velocity, I'm done. I'm toast. But if you're in your Mania match and you're about to win, and all of a sudden, boom, I come back to re-spark our feud, everyone's going to go, hold on. And then he goes on to, after that, there's going to be one more. He's like, you got to have a best of 3 storylines. So when it's completed, it's not 0-1, it's 2-1 or whatever.
Yeah, 1-1, and then you can book the rubber match.
But he's like, don't pitch me the first feud. He's like, pitch me all 3 right off the bat, or I don't want to hear it.
Well, yeah, and it's the thing with that is, I don't, God knows that there's been so much that Vince McMahon's done in his life. I mean, but they said, everybody said after WrestleMania 1, the way he started his booking was he looked at his roster and saw who he wanted to main event the next WrestleMania, and he booked backwards to get there. He was like, okay, just Hogan and Savage are going to main event WrestleMania 5.
So right not to give away the business or anything, but when I was in class and we were learning about how to book matches and stuff, every coach said you have to book backwards. You can't book from the beginning of the match. So let's say, Jason, you and me, we're going to have a match. Oh, I'm going to win by submission. Okay, so let's work backwards. I'm going to work the knee. You're going to do this. So that's traditional wrestling booking. By this time next year, you're going to be in the main event. I'm going to be IC champ. How do we get there? Where are the bumps in the road? How do we tell that story?
And then it goes back, excuse me, as well, talking, same topic, different a little bit, going back to Gunther and how good he is. It's like, you might hear people argue that MJF is a better heel. And I would say, I like MJF. I mean, I got his scarf over there. I love MJF as a character, but you got, depending on where you're at, you're going to hear the chants of he's our scumbag and this. I mean, you're going to hear a lot of people cheering for MJF no matter what he's doing. And you're not going to, I would be hard pressed to look out there and see one person cheering for Gunther. I mean,
I would use this analogy personally. I think if we had a time machine and we had both these wrestlers, I think Walter would have more success anywhere in the past.
Absolutely.
You could plug him into the 1930s. You could plug him into the 60s. You could plug him into anywhere.
Absolutely. The only difference for me and him, I told you, Gunther would have to have a manager back in those days.
Oh yeah, I could see. Yeah. I'm not going to disagree with anything like that. But my point is, I think if MJF doesn't have television, MJF as the character doesn't work as well.
Well, I told you when it's done right, and he's done a lot of things right. Just like I told you before with the, he was able to get the crowd to chant double clothesline. When's the last time anybody gave a shit about a clothesline?
Maybe it's because I'm not feeling well. You might hurt me for this, but I'm going to say that I think at this moment, MJF might be the closest thing to a Bobby Heenan of modern day, because he's not in like a direct comment, but it's like he's an amazing talker, absolutely amazing talker. He can sell a story with like these little quips and all this stuff. He's got a lot of little one-liners, but like his wrestling style's sort of basic, and he sells a lot, and he doesn't, you know what I mean? He's not really that flashy.
Well, there's the comparison to the two. Gunther's style is hard hitting, but he sells very well. He's not out there doing the high flying. He does that dinosaur drop kick, but that's in the ring. It's not from the top rope.
Yeah.
Like when he came to the ring at number 30, he was limping and still selling the knee from the match.
Yes, what a pro from the calf crusher. What a pro.
Yep. So there's comparisons there, but like I said, my thing with the two of them is you'll find people that will cheer for MJF just because he's a smart ass and what he is. And whether it's because Gunther is not American or, whatever.
I guess it's just the tone of it, because MJF you kind of want to laugh along with because he's funny, but Gunther's like that person at the party that you don't want to make eye contact with. That yes sir, no sir, okay, thank you. Like if this guy says get out, you're getting out. Like if MJF said to you get out, you'd go get out, yeah.
Yeah, like
so says get out. I'm out of here. No problem.
I'm real interested to hear AJ's follow-up podcast, whoever he talks to, because like I said, Gunther, when Cody was talking to John Cena after, and this was 2 days removed from Cena losing, both of them just talking about how wonderful he was and just, how different the backstage persona was. But when the music hit and the curtain opened, just, he just, that switch flipped and just what a pro and what a good dude he was. So, I mean, yeah, he makes a great, like him or not, he makes a great heel champion for that baby face to have to chase. And, then he does shit. Did you see the Raw match with him and AJ Styles that led to this?
No, I don't think I did.
And, he laughed about it, but it's AJ had him in the calf crusher. The way this match got set up, AJ was out there defending Cena, stop talking shit about John Cena, blah, 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 blah. And Gunther's like, what are you going to do about it? And AJ smacks the shit out of him. And they set up a match. Well, in that match, AJ's got him in the calf crusher. Well, Gunther taps, but the way he taps, the referee is on this side and Gunther's over here. And he starts tapping out on AJ's leg on the other side away from the referee. So AJ lets go and raises his hand up, and the referee pulls his hand down like, what the hell are you doing, man? You didn't win this match. And AJ's like, but he tapped. And and as the ring announcer,
I gotcha. Yeah.
As the referee's telling the ring announcer that the match isn't over, Gunther kicks him in the ding ding and then power bombs him and pins him 1, 2, 3. And AJ comes out there, wanting a rematch because he's like, you didn't beat me. You tapped out like a little bitch. We got it on camera. And they go back and forth. And Gunther's like, no, I'm entering the Royal Rumble.
There are no replays in pro wrestling. Right. None of this exists.
And, Gunther's like, no, I'm entering the Rumble. And AJ's back and forth. You're scared. You tapped, blah, blah, blah. And then Gunther turns around and goes, You want a rematch with me? Put your career on the line, and I'll give you a rematch. And you know, and AJ does. He sells it real well. He just goes speechless, and Gunther smiles and walks away. And then it shows AJ later in the back talking to Adam Pearce, and he agrees to it. And Pearce is like, you know, Gunther's Gunther. Are you sure you want to do this? And he's like, absolutely. I want my rematch with him. And he goes, you saw the first match. I know I can beat him. And you know, Gunther, yeah, he did a low blow in the match, but AJ, you know, he kicked out of the power bomb. That sequence you saw with the low blow power bomb, that's how he lost the first match after he let go of the calf crusher. But you know, it tells a good story. And again, with AJ not putting his gloves down, I'm not thoroughly convinced he's done in the ring. I think he's done in WWE, but you know, for him to do a couple of matches in TNA or in Japan or something like that with his contract being up next month, that wouldn't shock me because he didn't put his gloves down. So
I could definitely see him showing up in New Japan. I know for a fact that he has. I want to say no for a fact, but it's like I'm pretty sure he went out on a good relationship with them. So if he wanted to come back for a couple big matches and kind of put over younger talent, like if he wanted to lose to Yota Tsuji to kind of help this guy cement himself as this like young champ who's like a fighting champ, that would be beautiful. But I could honestly see him go to Noah for a little bit because that's where he went to fight Marufuji not too long ago. That's where Omos was. So, and I think he wrestled there many, many moons ago. So who knows? Like AJ could literally throw a dart at a board at a globe and just wrestle there, and the company would say, yes, AJ, come whatever you want, buddy. Like,
well, I don't think he's done with WWE either, because I don't remember when it was, but it's been within the past couple of years. Him talking about he knew he didn't say when he was going to retire. It wasn't that close to what we've seen, but he knew he talked about how he knew he was coming close to the end, and you know he would make up his mind soon on when that was going to be, but that he definitely, like when he was done with his in-ring stuff, would definitely like to be an agent / trainer helping the young guys in the back. So I don't think he's completely done with WWE. Might be a different contract he comes back on. So we'll have to wait and see what he does outside of WWE once his contract is up, because they kept making it a point to, say that he had to retire from WWE.
If they don't, like, I have all these high hopes of going to Japan or whatever, but if they don't at least send him to Impact for one match on Impact,
I mean, him and Santana did the face-to-face after Santana won.
And he looked at the belt, and he looked back, and he scoffed. That to me reads as, I'm coming for that belt.
Yeah, and all right. So, like I said, to me, it was very underwhelming. Royal Rumble like I said, Liv told a good story. The AJ and the Gunther match, you pretty much knew the outcome, but it was a hell of a match. Sammy and Drew, just very underwhelming. The men's.
I'm still not used to seeing all those commercials. I watched it. They had it on Netflix, I believe. Oh my God, guys! It said 6 of 8 commercials, and I went, "Wait,
well,
what?"
I will tell you that I would much rather watch those commercials than pay $60 for it, like we used to have to do. So.
I totally get that. I'm not disagreeing. All I'm going to say is, from my perspective, the wrestling I watch, they don't have those commercials like that, like cutaway commercials. They'll have ads on the mat and all that, and everybody does the, hey, I'm holding the drink of the future, but never like, hey, we're cutting to a Chevy commercial.
Yeah, I don't know.
Still weird to me. But yeah,
it is. I agree wholeheartedly. It takes a little bit of getting used to, but I bet you about it all the time. Watching anything on Netflix is like these different series that they put out on Netflix that have not the Netflix. Well, some of them too, but like the older ones they put on Netflix. You could be watching something that was on. Pick a channel. It doesn't matter. But when they don't. When the network show, just say NCIS. You're watching NCIS on CBS. They have that. Like when Michael Cole, when
fades out to commercial, fades back in.
Well, when you're watching a WWE show and they go to the floor and you see somebody laying there, they're about to cut the commercial.
Gotcha.
But NCIS and things like that, you can tell where the commercial break's coming. They time it out that way. They edit it that way. But You watching stuff on Netflix, man, somebody can be in mid-sentence. A damn thing just cuts the commercial. Drives me crazy.
Tubi's terrible like that, but Tubi's also terrible. That's the fun in the alliteration. But yeah, it's and then later it'll come back like from the commercial you just watched, and into the show it'll fade to black for a moment, and fade to black, and then fade from black, and you go, that was the commercial break, wasn't it? And they moved it like 5-10 seconds earlier for some reason.
Yeah, I keep forgetting you're over there. So you got it on Netflix. It's on the ESPN app over here. So with the Hulu, Disney, ESPN. So everywhere else is Netflix. I do remember them doing that, but
complicated.
It's ridiculous. I know they started adding some of the older stuff to NXT Netflix. I don't know what all's there yet. So I know a lot of that library when the Peacock deal went away, that they were going to put some of it on YouTube and some of it on Netflix. I haven't looked to see what they put out there yet.
Honestly, like the major selling point of the WWE Vault, or I should have said network at the beginning, was the Vault. So if they don't put that kind of stuff on, I think that's just you're wasting money.
On a side note, a lot of that old Mid-Atlantic stuff that you see, or old, Mid-Atlantic, Crockett Promotions, whatever you want to call it. Interesting where that came from. They bought it from Jim Cornette, along with the Smoky Mountain. I don't know if you heard this story or not, but when Turner bought WCW, Crockett, they were doing stuff in the office, and Cornette saw somebody out there throwing tapes away, like into the dumpster. And he was like, "What the hell are you doing? That's history. Why? What are you doing?" And they're like, "We don't need this anymore." Cornette's like, "Okay, all right, yeah, no problem." So he said he's kind of stood there and waited on the guy to get done. And he went dumpster diving and pulled out every tape that guy threw away and had it. And he sold that to WWE. He sold the Smoky Mountain Library to WWE. I mean, he made a fucking fortune off that.
This is what people pay for is like video time. Like, we need to fill the slot. So if you have a lot of footage, then like this is even a whole thing in YouTube algorithms where like everybody started making longer videos, because if you can hold a viewer for a longer time, you make more money. But hey, I want to make a 2-minute comedy video. Well, a 10-minute one pays better. You know what I mean? Like,
so all this, and it's like with the ECW, they bought the AWA library from Gagne, the Memphis library, Lawler had, but the ECW library, they didn't buy none of that from Heyman. They let him go into bankruptcy, and they went in bankruptcy court and bought some of the trademarks they wanted, and they bought the tape library. That's all they bought. So I mean, it's good business practice. I mean, they paid a whole lot less for it than they would have if they'd paid Heyman straight out. But with Heyman's going back tonight was just, Brock got eliminated pretty quickly. I mean, he looked strong, but he was only in there a few minutes. He wasn't there a long time. And then, Breaker got eliminated immediately. And then, his other three boys, Logan Paul being the one to last the longest. But, Heyman did not have a good night per se for the vision.
I will say this. My friend's mother completely destroyed Brock Lesnar with one comment, and I thought it was the greatest thing I've ever heard in my life. Brock comes out and he does what Brock does, and all I hear from the corner of the room is this all he does? And I kind of went,
yeah, that's all he does.
Oh, damn, god damn, like, yeah, murdered like instantly.
Yeah, that's all he does. So
I know he doesn't have to do it. That's the rule of wrestling, but like, you could. I'm just saying, you could do a drop toe hold every so often. You could do.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he hasn't forgot his collegiate wrestling days, because that was.
I'm not implying that. I'm just saying I would love to see some of that at any time. And
I love the way he did the Kimura lock, and he had it. He was so good at it to where it looked like he was actually breaking somebody's arm. Like when Triple H needed to go out for a little bit, and they did the angle with Brock where he popped the arm in the back, but. He was very good at that and protecting people. So I don't know, man. I mean, Brock's Brock. I mean, he
doesn't have to do anything now, but
I mean, he's another one. He's not going to be around much longer. Whether it's the retirement this year is true or not. I mean, he's got a lot more time behind him than he does in front of him. So you know, he's a legend. He's a Hall of Famer.
I just thought what a funny comment to completely destroy this 20-year career of all this accomplishment. It's is this all he does? Is that
well, yeah, I mean, for the last at least 5-6 years,
that's all he needs to do.
Yeah,
He gets paid, he goes home.
You know, punches, kicks, German suplexes, and F5s. It's all you've gotten from Brock in the past, 5, 6, 7 years.
That's all you guys paid for. So that's all you're getting.
So again, in my opinion, I think we agree a very underwhelming Royal Rumble. But so we'll move on to. Did you see Dynamite last week?
I did not see Dynamite last week, but if you're going to talk about what I think you're talking about, we have opinions.
Well, there's two things I'm going to talk about.
Okay.
First off, there was a match later in the night to determine who was facing Kenny Omega this upcoming Wednesday between Swerve and Andrade. And Andrade got the clean pin on Swerve Strickland, and I was very surprised.
I think Andrade, this is gonna be controversial, but I could see Andrade being in the S-class rank of professional wrestlers right now. This guy could go to any company, put on a good match with anybody at a moment's notice. When he cares, he can put on phenomenal matches. He just seems to be one of those guys that doesn't necessarily care that often. I know that might sound mean or whatever or wrong, but it's he does seem that every so often or feud, it's I don't really care for this.
Well, the thing, and this is the way they set it up, being you didn't see it. I forgot who Kenny wrestled to start the show.
But Rocky Romero.
Yeah, that. So, Kenny's cutting his promo. Paige comes out, and then Swerve comes out. And, Swerve's looking at him, and Kenny's like, Swerve, the way you're looking at me, it looks like you want to fight. And Swerve's like, yeah, basically, I don't like you. Yeah, I do. And he goes, after I beat up.
A little bit of a bum.
And then, so the match later that night, the main event was Andrade versus Swerve to face Kenny next week to figure out who the number one contender is. And the way they set it up, it was it's AEW. There's not a lot of, you can kind of predict 85% of the time what's coming. And so, it almost seemed like 100% locked that Swerve was going to win. You're going to get Kenny and Swerve next week. Now, with the way they did it, you can put Kenny and Swerve off to a pay-per-view. Maybe one of them's got the title, maybe it's don't, maybe it's just a match. But, Andrade beat him clean. He hit his finish on him, and it was right in the middle of the ring. 1, 2, 3. I was like, didn't see that coming.
So, not to make this weird, but what do you think of the whole pants versus trunks conversation that we're all having for some reason?
I have missed that one, so enlighten me, bring me up to speed.
He was in a match not too long ago where he's wearing his pants, and all of a sudden he turns to the crowd.
Where Andrade did the stripper thing.
But he doesn't have tearaway pants. There's a guy in New Japan, Taichi. He's got tearaway pants. And as he hulks up, he tears the pants off. And that's to say, that's the signifier.
Kind of like the Lawler dropping the strap years ago.
Exactly. But it's a comedy bit because I'm ripping my pants off. It's not full comedy, but it's lighthearted. Anyway, he just takes the pants off the hard way, and now he's in trunks. So I saw a post online where they showed them side by side, and they're like, "What are we doing? What's everybody trunks? Does he go trunks and boots, or does he go pants and boots? Because he looks good.
Either way, yeah. It's not like he's got bad legs. The guy's in phenomenal shape.
But the pants, I like the white of the pants. It pops. You know what I mean? I like the war color. That's all. It sounds simple when I say it like that, but it's the trunks are dark. If he wears the big bright white pants, I think it has a bit more pizzazz to him, and that's all simple enough.
Well, it's I forgot what the hell it was, but it was if you get mad or you're going to make a mistake, incorporate it into what you're doing. And this is one of those things to where, I don't know if it was planned, if it was just something that he always wears trunks under those pants in case they rip, and just decided he wanted to do whatever. But, I'm like you. If you want to do that, incorporate it to your move set to where maybe not your finish, but like when you're starting to hit your signature moves, you hit one and then you have the tearaway pants and you rip them off and you go hit the other one and you hit your finish.
Well, the bits are built in, right? So I'm wrestling you, you're starting to fire up. I see you go for the pants, and I like, no. And I grab your hands, and now we have this whole bit of like, well, I'm gonna rip my pants off. No, you're not gonna rip your pants off. Yes, I am. No, you're not. We have a bit. I've seen matches where I rip your pants off before you want to, and you sell it like, oh no, you can see me in my underwear, and I do a roll up and win. Like there's so many bits baked into this thing, but that's if you can pull them off in a second.
Yeah, and so like I said, just he looks great either way. I just think if they're going to do that, like you said, rip away pants, incorporate it, have the bits with it. I mean, just don't make it look so awkward like don't make it look so awkward like you're whatever.
Yeah, it almost looked like the pants got caught, but I think they are stretchy pants, so he can just pull them and they come off. But
and then the other thing that happened at Dynamite was Tommaso Ciampa showed up.
Oh, Baldy and Beardy all put into one.
Well, I mean, I've
I
said
like
before,
him. I just think it's funny that he's got no hair and yet all the hair.
Oh yeah, no, I've always liked him. I really liked the Sicilian psychopath gimmick he was doing in Ring of Honor. When he first signed with WWE, he had made the comments that he had told them that, he never wanted to go to the main roster. He did not want to travel with the main roster. He was fine doing whatever in NXT they wanted him to do, as far as like them pumping him up and then him going on to start putting over the other talents they were bringing in, because they build him up to let him build other people up.
Yep.
And and then they wound up putting him on the main roster because Triple H is a big fan of his. It's been no secret. I hate
to say it, they're not big enough for WWE.
They're not, and it's
and
like
no one in the Fed respects like cruiserweights or divisions, so you can't do too much with them.
I don't see Johnny Gargano hanging around a long period of time now that Ciampa's gone, unless they send him back down to NXT. He's a good wrestler. He's not an entertainer.
He's your like, not a direct comparison, but he's your like Brett or your Mr. Perfect, who's like, they got a little bit of character, but they're mostly ring work. Like this is Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. This is like, no. Put him in the ring with someone that can do a promo, but they're not with promo.
And see, I like Ciampa a whole lot better than I did Gargano, but like DIY, the Motor City Machine Guns. I mean, it's people I like and I like to watch wrestle, but on the main roster, they got no pop whatsoever.
And
Gargano and Ciampa were loved in NXT. The NXT people loved them.
And if Ciampa likes sitting on like the cutting edge, let's say, people are getting mad at me, but like the cutting edge of wrestling is not anywhere, literally not anywhere close to the main roster of WWE. Like
absolutely not.
For you to get the cutting edge of like cinema, you're not going to get that in a Marvel movie. You got to go to an independent. You got to go somewhere weird. You got to go somewhere odd. Like, you know what I mean? You got to reach out. So if Ciampa wants to be on that cutting edge, like, honestly, I'm surprised he didn't end up in like Juggalo championships or something weird just to go giving you the Vickies. Like, I'll go wherever I want. I'll do whatever I want. Screw you guys.
Well, I'll say this for Ciampa. If they let him be anywhere close to his Ring of Honor character, he'll get over. And I think he's better off in AEW than he was in WWE.
And he'll look better next to Will Ospreay than he will Drew McIntyre.
Absolutely. Ricochet, the people they've gotten now. It's
like, I know Swerve and Hangman are big, but they're not. Yeah, they're not Brock big, Well,
like, and for people that are, I can't believe, because it came out that Tony Khan apparently offered Powerhouse Hobbs a whole lot of money to stay, and he turned down. And we've talked about this before. It's like I never fault people because AEW has been around 6 years, and WrestleMania has been around. What are we on, 42 this year?
Oh my God. Yeah.
whatever it is. And in the business, people want, they aspire for that mania moment, that big stage, 50 to 100,000 people. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I doubt seriously WWE offered Hobbs as much money as Tony did.
It's the same thing that happens in sports. Everyone wants to play for the team that they like to, or they want. Who doesn't want to play for the New York Yankees? Who doesn't want to play for the, New York Knickerbockers or whatever? Like, these are dreams of any athlete in any whatever genre of sport, let's call it. So it makes sense. It just kind of sucks that there wasn't any other or isn't any other promotion that's like taking steam like that. It's just, the Fed.
And that's why I'm really hopeful for TNA that they can take off, but they're going to have to do better in that first show. But I'll give you two examples of people that left and went to WWE. We'll take Jade Cargill. I said from day one when I saw her that she had WWE written all over.
Oh, I would agree.
That's what they liked. Now, have they presented her in any different way than Tony did? No, they haven't. It's just a bigger stage. Now, Powerhouse Hobbs, and this is where some people might agree, they might disagree. I don't know what WWE is going to do with him, but I don't think they can do any worse with him than Tony did. As big as that guy is, it was a lot of start and stop and getting pinned and this, that, and the other. So if his dream was to go to WWE, I don't think he's going to be used any worse than what he was in AEW.
And honestly, I think consistency is what's going to help Hobbs in the long run. And I'll give WWE credit. Consistency is what they're really good at. If you gave Hobbs to, like, I don't know, might be a bad example, but like The Miz, and now The Miz has this heater, and The Miz can say whatever he wants, because are you going to step up to Hobbs? No, you're not, are you? And that's why I can put my finger in. Like, I think if you give him a Seth, something like that, where it's like, now this heel can be more of a heel, because what are you going to do? You have to fight Hobbs first. And you look at him and you go, I don't know if I want to do that.
Well, that's how they got Big E over before, the New Day. I mean, they gave him to Dolph Ziggler and AJ Lee.
But do this consistently week after week, drive it home, where every week we're realizing that everyone on the roster fears Hobbs, and then people are going to go, oh, this guy's scary because we're being told, we're showed, you know what I mean? Like, hopefully.
Like I said, I don't even remember who eliminated him in the Rumble, but it's like, we didn't really talk about this a whole lot, but my opinion on Jericho was you could not bring him back to be in the Rumble because he's not going to win it. So you don't want to bring Jericho back just to be tossed over the top rope.
Okay, so I'm gonna disagree politely, and I'm gonna try to fill in a name. Okay, we have Jericho. He's gonna do. Hopefully, he'll do more than one Rumble. Let's say he'll do 2 matches. The Rumble being one. It makes sense if he gets knocked out. If he gets knocked out by the person who he's then gonna wrestle later, because you just build up that spot. So it's like that I could see. Let him get knocked out by somebody. He turns around. You made the list. Next episode, I want this guy, this young punk. Look what he did. He embarrassed me. Like, I see a little bit of a potential there, but I could see maybe somebody going, well, if we have him, we have to let him win.
Well, that's the way some thinking are. But to your point, if they would have put him in the Rumble, the good spot for him to be eliminated, and I'm not saying this should have been the person to do it, but the Cody Drew spot where Drew come out and Claymore Cody to knock him out. If you're going to put him in there, to your point, do it like that. So it's not, it's not him looking weak in his re-debut.
No, he got cheated out. The heels ganged up on him, blah, blah. Like, wrestling's easy. See, this is why it's like, you guys couldn't have slapped a couple things together.
I mean, it's like I said, not everything that worked back then would work now, but at the end of the day, it's just like the Marvel movies, good versus evil. And you have to get people invested in a character to make them care. And if, it's like with Powerhouse Hobbs, I use him as an example in AEW. It was so much start and stop with him, just like Wardlow. We hadn't seen Wardlow. There was so much start and stop. How can people be invested in him if you put them on TV for a month and then they're gone for 6?
Well, to drive home the Marvel example, like, okay, they're trying to find the next Iron Man. because that was a big series and that kind of drove this wave of Marvel movies. But every time they try to find this new, like they did the Ironheart show, they've done a couple, but they don't commit. You committed on Iron Man, and that's what made it. Like Tony Stark made this in the cave with a box of scraps. Like you committed to put this guy over. But when you see like CC Williams, you're like, who? What? Because they've not done anything with them. They've done one show and everyone's still who?
Well, that, we've had so many Spider-Man over the years that nobody, I mean, people will watch the movie because it's Spider-Man.
I think Spider-Man's one of those like, dude, you could put anybody in that suit and I'd watch that. I don't care. Spider-Man. I love it. I'm a 4-year-old when I watch it.
Well, it's like, Batman, all the, for, I don't know how old you were, but when the first one came out, I'm like, are you kidding me? Mr. Bomb is Batman.
Oh, that scared the poops out of me. But
and then, but fast forward for all those years, the different Batmans they made with George Clooney and Val Kilmer and whoever else that was in there. It was like, damn, Michael Keaton was the best one they ever had. And then, fast forward, he's still my number 2, but the Dark Knight series, I thought Christian Bale was amazing in those 3 movies. I thought he made a really good Batman, and, the young playboy philanthropist and the Bruce Wayne part, I thought Christian Bale was amazing. So he's my favorite. I'm not a George Clooney fan. So,
okay. So this is going to sound confusing, but Christian Bale's is the better Batman, but Michael Keaton is the better Bruce Wayne.
No, I agree with you wholeheartedly. I agree. That's a funner, 100% for me. I agree. But, but like I say, you have to, when you keep changing stuff up like that, the stop, the start, the push, the non-push. I mean, we've talked about it 100 times, and I'll say it till I'm blue in the face with Wardlow. I had no problem with him squishing MJF to get out of that contract and move forward as an AEW roster member, the way they had the storyline set up. But then they did nothing with him. But it goes back to what I was talking about with Austin Theory beating Cena and Solo beating Cena. So it's not one company is guilty of it, the other one's not.
Oh, hey, even to lean on this even more, it just made me think in New Japan they have this this new wave of people, Yuya Mura, Shooter, everyone's been calling him for years, and Yota Tsuji, who are like, these are the young guys. You have to commit to one of them at least, and only Wrestle Kingdom did they put the strap on Yoda, and everyone's like, finally, like. But you have to commit. You can't have them all floating, waiting. Like, just put one of them over and have one of them be the face of the company. It's like you're scared of the work you've already put in. It sounds weird.
And if CM Punk would have been smart enough, and I've said this before, when he wrestled Hobbs all those years ago, and he come off the middle rope, and Hobbs caught him in just a phenomenal, no pun intended, spine buster where the whole crowd was like, and if Punk would have been smart enough, he'd have just laid down.
Because there was ever a time to call an audible and say, "Oh, you know who he should have thought about in this moment? Scott Hall. Remember his quote? Don't worry, kid. I'll take the heat.
Yep.
I'll put over Jericho. I'll put over the 1, 2, 3 kid. I'll take the heat."
Well, it's like not only that, but you go back further than that with Jake Roberts and the Spoiler. When he was wrestling the Spoiler, the way the DDT was created was he tripped. He had him in a front face lock and he tripped. He tripped over his own 2 feet. But Len Denton, to his credit, heard the response of the crowd, and like he had the mask on, so they couldn't see him talk. And he was like, "Pin me."
Yeah, right now. And this is it. That's it. It's done.
And because with CM Punk coming back and being the star he was, that's an easy explanation. Hey man, I hadn't been in the ring in 10 years, and man, he caught me out of nowhere with that. But I assure you, we're gonna have a rematch, and I'm gonna be ready for it next time.
Did you ever see the old Low Key match? I feel like I brought this up a while ago, but I always bring this up. You remember Low Key? Voice like this. He's like a Mortal Kombat guy. Yeah. Okay. So he had a match in the Independents where they had planned out this like 20-minute match, and as soon as the bell rang, Loki ran at the guy and did a big what's your boy's name on Speedball? He does the big Speedball wind-up kick. Dirk Diggler, bam, nails the guy, knocks him out cold instantly. The bells rang, bam, out cold. The guy drops. Now, in a perfect world, Loki would have went, uh-oh, That's not good. I should pin him right now. And when he's awake, apologize. And Loki, in his infinite wisdom, said, I'm going to pick this guy up because we got shit to get in. So he tried to stand him up. He tried to do more moves. And the guy's out, snoring, done. And only a couple minutes later did the ref have to look at Loki and go, this guy's a sandbag right now, right? Like, this guy's out. There's no coming back. And you can see Loki's pissed, but it's like, dude, it's like Cornette's right. If Loki hit that kick, saw that he was out, pinned him, the crowd would have went fucking mental.
Yep.
Holy shit, you knocked him out in 3 seconds. You're like Mike Tyson. What? No, he ruined it by we have to continue. Yeah, sometimes you have to call the audible and say, you know what? I'm putting Hobbs over because he's going to be a megastar.
Yep. One of the indie shows that I did ring announcing on, Loki was there. Very quiet guy, laid back, but he wasn't Loki. He was the World Warrior Senshi.
I like that name. I know it's from Street Fighter, but I like that name, the World Warrior.
Well, he was funny because I was back there talking to him. I was like, all right, man. I had my little notepad. I'm like, how many of them TNA titles and other stuff you want me to announce? Man, you gotta announce that shit. I don't care. I ain't nobody. I'm like, are you sure? I said, I'm not, I named off like, him having the X title and the World Tag Team titles a couple of times in TNA with Triple X. And I said, he's like, no, don't worry about it. I'm like, okay. If you change your mind, let me know. I tried.
It's like he did the mocap for Suicide in the TNA video game. I wish people would do that when they're walkouts. Like, instead of your weight and your height, give me a weird, fun fact about you.
Have I ever told you my thing about announcing weight?
No. What's your?
Just one time. It doesn't have to be done all because they never announce the women's weight or the height. It's just from Atlanta, Georgia, Liv Morgan, where the hell she's from. That's all they ever announce. It can't be the male announcer. It's got to be the female ring announcer.
Okay.
Like Nia Jax coming to the ring. Standing at 6'3" tall, weighing in it. Oh, girl, I can't do that to you.
Oh, girl. Like,
girl, I can't do that to you.
I think you would need. Okay, so Scott Steiner had a moment on TNA where he was announcing and he was reading the cue cards, but he was also like, I'm not reading this from somebody's mama, old dirty bastard. Like, he just, like, he did it himself. And it's like, you would need a heel announcer to do that to her and go this close to like saying something truly like vicious, but like, I'll walk it back in a Mean Girls type of way. And you're like, oh, don't.
I would just get a kick out of that. But
we got 0.02 metric tons.
Yeah, we got Fallout from the Royal Rumble. They'll play around for a few weeks on who's going to challenge who. Like I said, to me, if they want to do it right story wise, you'll have Raquel beat Stephanie and then let Liv pick Raquel or have Raquel go, no, bitch, you threw me over the ropes. Pick me. I want your ass. And then, we all know Roman's going to pick CM Punk. So I have no idea who's going to come out of the Elimination Chamber to face Drew, or if Drew still has the title by WrestleMania. I really don't care. Like I said, the Royal Rumble is just, I used to get so excited for it, and it was just underwhelming. And then, this week coming up, you're going to have Kenny versus Andrade. And I'm pretty sure,
I'm not expecting too much from Kenny, but I think that should be a fun match.
Well, yeah, but I'm sitting there thinking it's like, it's set up for because Kenny's been talking about wanting to get the world title one more time, and to me, it's set up for Kenny to win. But on the flip side, it's like, well, damn, they just let him pin Swerve clean.
Yeah,
why not Kenny?
Why not?
So, like I said,
I think it's a little late to that race for Kenny. Like, I don't know. I don't think we should be. I don't think AEW should be doing what WWE is doing and having the belt be on some of the oldest people on your roster. Like, I know Kenny Omega is an exception to any rule that you think you might have for pro wrestling, but like, if they keep it on younger guys and present it as a young man's company, like, I don't want to, like, young woman's, whatever, but you know what I mean? Like, I think that'll help them stand out, especially against WWE, where, like, how long has Randy Orton been on this roster? How long has he been wrestling? Like, So
I
if
mean,
you say,
he's in his mid 40s and he started in his early 20s. So
you can say, look at AEW. We're a young, hip, cutting edge company. WWE is full of old timers. Oh, I think if they present themselves like that, it might give them a little bit of an edge. Might just, it's a different product if it's different. But I don't know. That's just me. I love Kenny. Again, one of the best in the world. He could be on a Mount Rushmore, and I wouldn't argue. But would I put the belt on him now, 2026? Maybe not. Probably not. No, I wouldn't.
one of the slow burns I think they're doing. I don't know how much you've watched of it. Is they put Chris and Willow back together after their little tidbits they had for 6 months or so, and I think you're going to see the slow burn of Willow being the one to turn and want the world title. I think they've done well building her up. They let her beat Mercedes for the TNT, the TBS championship. I haven't seen Mercedes since, so I don't know where that's going. They were telling they kind of put her up here, and they've done the slow fall with her losing different titles.
I could be wrong, but I believe she's going to do another circuit, losing the titles.
Well, she lost it. She lost like 3 or 4 of them. So
no, I know, but she had
if not more,
right? So I don't know if she's going back to Winnipeg, but I can imagine, in wrestling logic, she would go then lose the belt back to Jody Threat in Winnipeg Pro Wrestling or whatever. You know what I mean? Like having the cycle kind of continue.
Yeah, talk about coming to the indie stuff. One of the matches I saw here years ago that I went to, I was at a Maryland Championship Wrestling event, and I couldn't tell you the girl's name she wrestled, but they brought Sherry in. And if you guys have never seen Sherry Martel versus Medusa Michelli in AWA, that was the original females beating the ever loving dog shit out of each other.
Oh, I remember.
But Sherry, what a lot of people, Sherry got her big name for managing and stuff between, Macho Man, Ted DiBiase, Flair, and then, becoming Sister Sherry with Harlem Heat. But Sherry could go. And
I don't think they ever taught Sherry that it's fake.
Well,
whenever I see a Sherry to Martel match, there's a part of my brain that goes, they didn't tell her. Did nobody told her? Like, no, you didn't let her in on it? Like, she's vicious.
Like I said, one of the girls from MCW, whoever, I can't remember her name, I wish I could, that she wrestled that night, went over clean. I was like, well, I didn't expect that one. And she heard me say it when she was walking to the back, and she just grinned. She goes, yeah, that's what I do now. I gotta get these girls up and running. I was like, well, you did well, ma'am. She was a sweetheart. I've met her a couple of times, but she was a sweetheart. But you got anything else for us, man? I know we're gonna do something like some Royal Rumble stuff to pick our own Royal Rumble. Did you write down 30 people?
Oh, I did not write down a full roster of 30 people, but if we wanted to save it for later, we can do it next show, give our list. I know we're kind of an hour and a half now. Maybe we can do that for the next one and go best case scenario, all possibilities. This is how we would book.
All right. Well, I'll give you a couple that I came up with just from different places.
Okay.
If we're doing a star-studded, I want to make sure we're on the same page. Like star-studded, going to draw money because of who they are, right?
Okay.
So we're on the same page with that.
Yeah. If you're saying these are the people. Oh, like
we're picking big stars. We're not picking, Fannie Mae from,
Oh, like I'm gonna stick within the realms of reality. Like I'm not like going and picking Andre, but like we could say maybe Jericho, maybe like we're playing around, but we're not. I'm not picking Mae Young, if you know what I'm saying. Like
absolutely okay. So for mine, I wrote down a few. I got Gunther, Reigns, Rollins, and Cody from WWE. Wrote down Kenny, Moxley, Ospreay, MJF, and Swerve from AEW. Plus Okada, Naito, Moose, Claudio, Edge, Brock, CM Punk, and
what's funny is my brain was going the other direction where it was like, can we get the Brooklyn Brawler?
That wasn't my 30. That wasn't full 30. That's just
no, I know. I was just saying like that's where your kind of brain was going. These are the kind of top. My brain was like, if we're doing a Royal Rumble, we need the other half. Is there someone who plays Doink? Can we get the Gobbledygooker? Can we get the Boogeyman? Can we get who else would work for that? I guess I'm trying to think of like other overbooked gimmicks. Can we get a weird celebrity? Can we get Marilyn Manson? That's a dated one, but like, you know what I mean? Like,
Gotta have Santino and the Cobra.
okay, can we get another, I hate to say it, but like one streamer? Can we get, like Mr. Beast? Maybe not Mr. Beast, but you know what I'm trying to say? Like, we could get an oddball that comes in and does the Drew Carey spot. Like,
I'll tell you what, that boy last year, I Show Speed, that spear he took for Braun Breaker,
why not?
that was on point. I mean,
that's all he did, right? Like, he took the spear and he got thrown out. Sure.
Well, it was, I forgot who got beat. It was, oh my God.
As long as no one's selling for Speed, I'm completely fine for it. Unless it's like Sami Zayn.
What's the kid's name? It's with Otis. The Japanese guys.
Tozawa. Akira Tozawa.
Yeah, Akira Tozawa. I forgot.
Where is he?
Well, I forgot who it was that beat him up. Somebody beat him up as he was on his way to somebody got eliminated, and Tozawa was coming out, and they beat the ever-loving shit out of Tozawa. Well, Tozawa couldn't go, so they're actually showing the backstage gorilla position, and they're like he can't go out there, and Triple H is like, we got to have somebody. And he looked over, and Speed was standing there talking to somebody like, Speed, go, you're in the Rumble. He's like, what? He played it off. Like, what? You're in the Rumble, go. And they hit his music, and he goes out and gets in the ring, and he's like waving at the crowd and turns around, and Braun Breaker breaks him in half.
I love that. You're in the Rumble, your boyhood dream. It's a complete surprise. We called on the spot. Hit his music and video that's already preloaded. Just hit play.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm just going back over a couple of things real quick here. They made their Rumble big, one of the big 4 pay-per-views in Riyadh. So we'll see how that goes. The stadium was half full. Yeah. If you don't want to, if you saw that, the 2011 Royal Rumble holds the record for most participants ever. 40 lasted nearly 70 minutes. Cena came within 37 seconds of breaking Kane's record for the most total time spent in Rumble matches. And some birthdays. Fit Finlay, born this day in 1958. The Giant Gonzalez, born on this day in 66. And
great, amazing wrestler.
And just to finish on my end, I just want to say thank you to AJ Styles. I know he'll never hear this. Well, if he does, maybe. For anybody that doesn't get the comparisons or the heartfelt to his match on Saturday night's main event with Shinsuke, I would implore you to go back and watch their match from New Japan, and then watch the Saturday night.
Oh my goodness!
And then watch the match they had, and understand that not only were they it wasn't the match they had 10 plus years ago, whenever it was, but it was pretty damn close, and they did a lot of throwback stuff to it. A great nostalgia moment for me. Because Shinsuke to me, they tried to push him when they first brought him up, and for some odd reason, it just didn't click. It didn't work.
And which is funny, because out of New Japan at that period, Shinsuke was the guy that even when he was in New Japan, everyone went, look at this. This is a Fed gimmick. Like the you know what I mean? Like everything about him just screamed WWE. He gets to WWE and they just looked at him and went,
he was over like Grover in NXT. It was the main roster. I mean, he did real well in NXT. Just like, I know they put the world title on Finn Balor for a brief moment when he got hurt, but
I think they can't show the same level of viciousness. Like in New Japan, for them to be vicious, they're allowed to really be mean and vicious and violent and brutal. But I think because WWE's on television, they can't have that same level of vicious brutality. And that just takes the wind out of Shinsuke, because he was disgusting. He was like one of those strikers where you go, I don't want to see that.
I heard somebody talking the last time his contract was coming up for renewal, and they're like, what do you think Shinsuke's going to resign? You think he's going to go back to Japan? They're like, Shinsuke ain't going nowhere. They're like, why do you say that? He's like, the money he's being paid, and he loves living in Florida.
Apparently he loves surfing, and that's all he does in his free time.
Yep. They're like, he ain't going.
Good on you, mate. Good on you.
Well, that's kind of me. But like I said, if you want to do that, I would implore you to watch. You can watch either one first. It doesn't matter to me. Watch one, then watch the other. But watch them back to back. Take yourself a 10-minute break, digest what you just watched, and then go back and watch the other one. And I think you will be pleasantly surprised if you've never got to watch those. But for me on my final note, it's been a privilege over the years to watch AJ Styles. From my first introduction to him was when he was with Air Paris. It was Air Paris and Air Styles in the WCW Cruiserweight Tag Division at the very end of WCW. And then, of course, you got him, very, very much so. I know it's just saying, but the house that AJ Styles built in TNA, his Ring of Honor, his Bullet Club days, and then it doesn't seem like it had been 10 years in the WWE, but doing a lot of things that people just said he couldn't do. And, and for everything I've ever heard about AJ Styles and Alan Jones is one of the best human beings you'll ever meet in your life. Family guy, married his high school sweetheart, didn't sign with WWE to let his wife finish her college and do her dreams to become a teacher. And I don't know who else in the wrestling business you would have found to do that. And, if this is actually it and we don't get him in TNA, we don't get him in Japan or anything like that for the rest of the year, my hat's off to you, sir. Thank you for the memories.
I have 4 words. Or 8, I guess. You are, I am. I bloody love that tune when he was in TNA, and it'll always be in my head, that version of AJ Styles, because that was like a badass version when he was at peak physical condition, which is crazy to say because of how good he is now. But like 20 years ago, when you heard that song, you're like, that's it. Seatbelts in.
When he come out on that first episode of TNA to, cut the promo and, and good on them for doing it, because, if there was anybody that was flipping channels, and got to them at the 9:00 hour, they, if they knew wrestling, they knew who AJ Styles was. They might not have known anything else afterwards, but they knew AJ and they probably kept it there for a minute. And, when he come out, it wasn't to this, they don't want none. It was to get ready to fly. And I was like, ooh, like a little kid watching that shit. So, you got anything else before we get out of here? We're going to do that Royal Rumble next. We got it coming Thursday. I guess we'll try to book it.
Yeah, we can book it on the show. Cause I'll bring a list of comedy guys. You bring a list of like main eventers, and we'll this is how we view the Royal Rumble. This is how we would book it. Cause it seems to have lost its classic charm.
Now we've talked about it before, not to put ourselves in a hole to have to do it, but I think we I don't know whether we're going to do it here or maybe something else we're talking about doing, but maybe a little segment, just pick something and this is how we'd book it.
Yeah. It'd be easy enough. And there's always those kind of Journey of Wrestling booking simulators where they have all the names and you just have to kind of drag and drop.
Maybe going into Mania season, take the players that are in confirmed matches in Mania and,
there's all sorts of things because there's lots of tournaments going around, and how would we book a round robin? Or we got lots of options.
So, all right, well, you go take your Theraflu or whatever it is you need to do. We apologize for being late, but hey, better late than never. And
you guys heard my nose, so this isn't goofing,
And they don't have to wait for us so long next time, because we'll be back, barring anything else, we'll be back on Thursday. So, well, Paul, I appreciate you getting out of bed and taking your NyQuil to.
I'm trying my best
to be able to fluster through. And Royal Rumble, to me, underwhelming. Me and Paul seem to be on the same page with that one. But for Paul, I'm Jason, and we'll see you Thursday night.